Hello, my friends. We have a filing here out of Idaho from just the day before yesterday, May 14th, 8:30 a.m. is when this was filed. Hopefully you can see my cursor here. So we know that there was supposed to be this hearing on the 14th, right? And it was going to be this closed hearing, closed to the public. But some things happened, and let's talk about what those things were. So here we have the District Court, the Second Judicial District of the state of Idaho, in and for the County of Idaho. So we've got here, of course, as always, State of Idaho, Plaintiff versus Bryan C. Kohberger, Defendant, order vacating and rescheduling the hearing dates and opening some hearings to the public. So the court orders the following. 1. Based on the agreement of the parties, the hearing scheduled for May 14th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. for defendant's fourth and fifth motions to compel is vacated. This will allow both parties and the court additional time to review the information that was submitted by the parties between May 7th, 2024 and May 10th, 2024. So if you recall from the previous documents we talked about, they had both sides were given dates by which they had to turn over information about what was going to be presented at these hearings. So that was going to include, I remember, if I recall correctly from the defense, they were going to have some witnesses. And then if you guys remember, there was jokes about the PowerPoint presentation. So we know that they had things that they had to turn over to each other. We covered all of that. So this is what this is referring to here, that this will give them additional time to review the information that was submitted as was discussed. So number 2, the defendant's fourth and fifth motions to compel will be heard on May 30th, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m. After reviewing the submissions of the parties filed on May 7th, 2024 and May 10th, 2024, the court has determined that the hearing will be open to the public. So this is, remember, like when he decided to, it's interesting because Judge seemed to indicate that it was going to be closed, and the previous filings confirmed that it was going to be closed. And I think we also covered those. Prior to that, remember, they had kind of reached a little bit of an agreement and like a compromise, if you will. And that they were going to have one open and one closed or something like that. And then when they went in to argue, I say argue because, even if they're agreeing, you argue in front of the judge, which means you present, whatever it is that you've submitted in writing. So they went to argue about these hearings. And after discussing it, Judge kind of like said, well, I think, they should both be closed. So it was like, it's kind of been going back and forth, in other words, right? Which is why this is interesting because now they've changed their minds. So I guess, in other words, this is like, now that we've seen what's going to be presented, which makes sense, right? Like that you would make that decision based on what's going to be presented, and that would inform you whether or not it should be closed or not. So after reviewing submissions that were filed on the 7th and the 10th, the court has determined that the hearing will be open to the public. Thus, the court's May 2nd, 2024 order granting the state's motion to close the May 14th hearing 2024 hearing is withdrawn. If during the hearing issues arise that must be addressed in a sealed proceeding, the court will clear the courtroom and discontinue the live stream of the proceedings on the court's YouTube channel. Now, I have to say, when they had the hearing discussing this, Judge said this same thing. Something like, why don't we just, have it open, and then if something comes up and we need to close it, then we can do that. And to me, that seemed really reasonable. But then after they continued talking about it, again, they had kind of seemed to decide it was going to be closed. I'm glad that it's gone back to this, I'll highlight it here, this initial type of idea here that, let's go for it. And then if it needs to be closed, we'll close it. That makes sense. That seems reasonable. Okay, number 3. On May 23rd, 2024 at 2:30 p.m., the defense will call a witness to testify. The testimony will relate to the defendant's fourth and fifth motions to compel. Because the witness is unavailable to testify on May 30th, 2024, the witness's testimony will take place on May 23rd, 2024. So in my mind, I was reading this and I'm like, well, wait, May 30th? What? Like, what the heck? Well, don't worry, we'll get to that because there's also a hearing for that. So again, we've got in other words, what we're learning now is there's going to be another hearing, and there's going to be a witness who would testify there, but they can't make it. So it will be open. This one particular witness, it'll be open. However, again, if during the hearing issues arise that must be addressed in a sealed proceeding, the court will clear the courtroom and discontinue the live stream of the proceedings on the court's YouTube channel. Number 4, based upon the agreement of the parties, the hearing is scheduled for May 16th, 2024, 3 o'clock p.m. for the IGG portion of the defendant's 5th motion to compel is vacated and reset for the May 30th. So this May 16th hearing was the initial one that we were all talking about because we knew it was going to cover the IGG. And that was like, we were looking forward to covering that, whatever. So that's the one that's being vacated for May 30th. So what's going to happen? Let's see. This portion of the hearing will include arguments on the defendant's motion to allow defense investigators to review IGG materials and defendant's motion to unseal parts of IGG materials. So remember, where we were at before with this was there were some issues here with the names of people, right? That it would be like disclosing personal identifying materials as to who else, the names that were used that came from the companies, right? With the IGG, which makes sense because these are just private citizens, whatever. The defense, though, was wanting these hearings to still be open to everybody, and the prosecution was wanting them closed. This portion of the hearing will include arguments on the defendant's motion to allow defense investigators to review IGG materials and defendant's motion to unseal parts of IGG materials. At this juncture, the hearing will be sealed as stipulated by the parties. In the event that the parties determine that the hearing can be open to the public, the parties must file a stipulation to open the hearing no later than May 24th, 2024, to provide adequate notice to the victim's family. So it kind of makes sense, right? Because when you think about it, like we've got these other hearings that they're going to be open, but it's like, well, we'll close them if need be. And then here it's like, well, we're going to have it closed, but if people change their mind and they want us to open it, we can do it. Nothing's set in stone. Just get your stipulation filed in due time so we can provide adequate notice to the victims' families, and then we will do it. And then number 5, although no hearing is being set for May 31st, 2024, the court will reserve space on its calendar beginning at 10 o'clock a.m. that morning if additional time is needed to complete the hearing on the defendant's motion to compel, including the portions pertaining to IGG information. So I love Judge's signature. So let's summarize this, because what we want to know is when the next hearing is, right? What are they going to be discussing? Is it open or closed? Okay, so the next hearing is going to be on the 23rd. That's the first thing. So, but this is just going to be this one witness that can't come on the 30th. So, and that's at 2:30, and again, that's going to be open, and if need be, they can close it once it's happening or whatever, but it's going to be open. So we can expect this to be someone, again, related to the 4th and 5th motions to compel. One would think that it's probably not related to IGG because, again, the people that are testifying related to that portion is going to be closed. So it's probably not related to that. So it could be related to the cell phone stuff, cell phone pings, right? Maybe the alibi, quote unquote, could be that. And then, so we have the 23rd, and then a week later, right, on the 30th, we have 2. So we've got a, where is it? 10 o'clock a.m. hearing, and that's going to be open to the public, so on YouTube, etc. And then we have the second portion is at 1:30 on May 30th, so same day, but 1:30, and that's going to be the IGG part that is going to be sealed unless they decide they want to have it open. So that's the plan. So the 23rd and the 30th, as it stands right now, is when we're going to hear more information, learn more information, although I'm sure there will be filings prior to that. So with that, what we will do is we will definitely keep an eye out for more filings. We will have those hearings on the 23rd and the 30th, and I'll definitely cover those as well. And that is it for now. So I'll see you guys on the next video.